Hi everyone, welcome to Make Moments Matter, a music education podcast, where I share lesson ideas, songs, games, and inspiring things for your elementary music classroom. My name is David Rao, and I am the music teacher who blogs at makemomentsmatter.org. This episode of the podcast is a replay containing the audio version of a Musical Mondays live video. If you're not familiar with Musical Mondays, every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I go live on Facebook and Instagram to share about the lessons that I'm using in class with my students. I give a recap of my kindergarten through 5th grade lessons, and then do a deep dive about one grade level and share the books, instruments, songs, and process that I use to teach the lesson to kids. This podcast episode contains all the audio from the Musical Mondays video, but if you'd like to see a replay of the video itself, you can find a link to the archived video on YouTube when you click the link in the notes for this episode. Thanks so much for tuning in. Here's the show. Hey everyone, my name is David Rao, and I'm the music teacher who blogs at makemomentsmatter.org. You can also find my ideas on Facebook, on Instagram, on Pinterest. Do people still use that? On TikTok, a variety of places when you search for my name, David Rao, or Make Moments Matter. Tonight, I'm talking about an oldie goldie song, She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain, and the process I used to teach that song, and some extra little goodies, books and videos and things that you might want to consider too if you're interested in teaching that. I'll get to that in just a second, but first, a couple things. If you hear me talk about like a book or a resource like I'm going to talk about tonight, and you're like, I want to find a version of that, I have a page on my blog with all the links and things where I talk about, links for things that I talk about. So tonight, like when I talk about this book, I'll put, there's a link on the links page for you if you want to go find it yourself. If you want to not just learn online, but if you want to like learn in person, I'm doing a couple in-person workshops coming up. The first one is on March 7th, which is not that far away. It's like a week and a half. And that's with the Alberta Orff chapter in Edmonton, Alberta. So if you're around Edmonton, come and join us. It's going to be so much fun. It's going to be like a whole day of learning. I can't wait to be there and to visit Canada again. Then I'm going to be on April 18th. I'm going to be at the Greater Rochester Orff chapter in Rochester, New York. I hope you'll come out and join us for that workshop. So Alberta Orff is coming up and Greater Rochester is coming up. Come and join us for either one. Okay, one last thing before I get into talking about how I teach this song. My kindergartners are doing this thing where they try and get postcards from all around the world, but especially all 50 states. And there are quite a few states that they don't have. They've been doing it for a while. And I saw like the poster that showed like where they're waiting for postcards. And I was like, I know some people. So like who could maybe send in postcards. So if you live in one of these states where we do not have a postcard from, please consider sending a postcard to my kindergarteners. All 3 homerooms are all, whenever a postcard comes in, each one reads it. And like folks have talked about like where they're from or like something about their state or area or whatever. So if you're interested and willing, we would love to get one from every state in the US. And then from all over, if you're from like Canada or Mexico or wherever or another place, we'd love that. But here are the states that are missing. And I actually I know I have some friends in each of these states. So if you live in Idaho, North Dakota, this is going to feel like 50-50 United States. It's not, and it's not in the order. If you live in Idaho, North Dakota, Wisconsin, Mississippi, Louisiana, West Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Vermont, Rhode Island, or Alaska, would you consider sending a postcard to my kindergarteners? They would love it so much. If you are interested and you are willing, on my Facebook page and Instagram, I put a little blurb about what they're doing and also the address you can send it to, or you can just send me a direct message and I'll send you a message letting you know where you could send a postcard. We would love it so much. Please consider. Thank you so much for considering that. Okay, let's talk about She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain because it is such a fun song. And it's one that I'm singing with my first graders because we're doing a concert in April, which I have not decided on the name. I thought about calling it like the Great Forest Adventure, but I want it to be like forest and mountains. So like I want to call it like Into the Wild or something. I don't know. But we're going to be doing all sorts of songs like The Bear Went Over the Mountain and She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain and maybe Grizzly Bear was sleeping in a cave. Like, I don't know, like all these songs about going through the mountains or going through the forest. There's just so many really fun songs. So that's what's kind of developing. But one of the ones I wanted to teach early was this song, She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain. And I thought, easy peasy, so excited. I put it in my lesson plans and I like set it and forget it, right? Okay, but then I have a second grade concert this week. I'm taking third graders to the symphony the week after. I have a third grade concert the week after that. So like, I've been real busy. So I like, just like, it was in my plans, but like, I haven't taught this for a few years. And like, I grew up singing this song, but like, it's been a while since I've taught it. So I didn't like think, but then it was like the class was there and they were in the room and I was like, oh rats, how do I teach this song? Why didn't I like think through or process this out? So, I did in the moment in that class, and then I taught it again the next day. So I wanted to share with you the process that I used to teach this song, in case you also are wanting to think or rethink your process for teaching this song. I was like I was like, I know that song. And then I sat down and I was like, she'll be coming round the mountain when she comes. Wait, does she sing? Does she say yeehaw? Does she say toot toot? She says something. What does she say there? And then like in my head, in front of the first graders, I'm like, reasoning, I'm like, well, she's coming around the mountain, and the next verse she's driving horses, but I feel like it should be toot toot. Is she on a train? Like, this was what was happening in my head. So anyway, I am now confident about the verses and the order and like what she says. But basically what happened the second time I taught this was I had a much better process going in. And I told the students, okay, this song comes from a very long time ago, before electricity, before the internet, before cars, before airplanes. And it's about somebody coming to visit. Like, they're coming to our house to visit. They're going to stay with us. They're coming to our house. So imagine like your family, like they're going to, like have this person coming to visit. I don't know. It's an old family friend. And with each class, I like used a different name. I'm like, oh, Cheryl Ann. Cheryl Ann is coming, and she's going to be like, and the next class I was like, oh, Gwendolyn, our good friend Gwendolyn is coming. And then another class was like, oh, Betsy Sue, our very good friend Betsy Sue is coming to visit. Anyway, I don't know, I changed it with every class. So I like set the stage of like, our good friend is coming to visit. And it's so long ago that the quickest way to get around was by train. So she had to take the train, and the train was pretty fast, but she lived pretty far away. She lived on the other side of the mountain. And so it was like quite a ways to come. And then she had to go around, around the mountain. It takes a while. Anyway, but you'll know she's coming because you're going to hear the train. And the train, it does like, chuk, 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 right? But it also, the whistle goes, toot, toot. And you'll know she's coming because you'll hear the whistle. And so, mom told us, okay, well, you'll know she's coming because of the whistle, whatever. But my brother, oh, he's such a pain. He goes, yeah, but mom, but when? Well, I'm not sure exactly, when the trains can sometimes get, slowed down by weather, whatever, but we'll know she's coming because we're going to hear the toot, toot. That's when we'll know she's coming around the mountain. And then, we'll finish getting ready. Yeah, but mom, but when? When exactly? Well, I don't know exactly. The train is on its own sort of schedule, and Wild West, we don't know exactly when it's coming. But you'll know because you're going to hear the toot, toot. Yeah, but mom, but when exactly? When will she be here? Well, she'll get here when she gets here. She'll get, she's coming when she's coming. We don't know exactly. Yeah, but mom, but when exact? I don't know when exact. And so it became this like back and forth between like an annoying brother and the mom who's just like exasperated, right? And so then that became the first verse. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. Toot, toot. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. Toot, toot. She'll be coming around the mountain. She'll be coming around the mountain. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. Toot, toot. So like, I don't know exactly when, just whenever she comes. I don't know. The train, you'll hear the train. Mom, when exactly? I don't know. So, but then I sang it again. The kids did the toot toot. And then they started getting the words too. This was not one that I was like, I'll sing, you sing, I'll sing, you sing. I just like sang it through because I wanted kids to just hear. And some of them knew it right away. Some did not. And some of them picked it up sort of as we went. But it was easy to, just sing and tell it as a story, and then a lot of them caught on as we went. So the first one was toot toot, right? Okay. Then the train station is actually, it's in town and our house is out in the country. So she can't, there's no cars. And so she would have to come from the town to our house. So she's probably going to get like she loves getting a carriage, or like something. She loves horses. So she'll get some horses and she'll drive the horses out here. And this one I have to explain to kids. I'm like, even though like you're riding a horse or you're like a horse is pulling a carriage, you say that you're driving the horses. It's even though you're not, there's no steering wheel on a horse, but you say you're driving the horses. Okay, so anyway, so she'll be driving horses and probably she's going to get one of those big carriages that has the 6 horses. And in town, they only have white horses. I don't know. This town is weird. So they only have the white horses. So she'll be driving 6 white horses when she comes. Now, I don't know if you know this about horses, but to get them to stop. Does anybody here ride horse? And I'll talk to kids. Anybody ridden a horse? Okay, so you have to hold on the reins. You pull back. And something you can say is go, whoa! And that gets them to stop. Right? So you go, whoa! And that gets them. And then this is when like my Cher impression inevitably becomes like, whoa! Because I don't know why, but like somehow that feels like it works its way in. I don't tell kids that's like my bad Cher impression. But anyway, it always comes through. So I say, so this time when we sing, we'll go, she'll be driving 6 white horses when she comes, whoa, back. She'll be driving 6 white horses when she comes, whoa, back. She'll be driving 6 white horses. She'll be driving 6 white horses. She'll be driving 6 white horses when she comes. Whoa, back. Toot, toot. Okay, so we got to add the toot, toot in there because we don't forget that's part of the story. It's the part we already learned. So we go through and we try. And it depended on the class. I tried it a couple different ways. That's one of the things I love about teaching music is if you have to teach the same lesson 3 or 4 times, sometimes I'll vary how I do it. And I'll do one where I accompany on ukulele, and I'll do one where I accompany on piano, or do one where I don't have any accompaniment, we just sing it a cappella. It's fun to see like how do kids react? Do they do better if I'm at the piano? And inevitably what happens with a song like this is I have to program it several weeks in a row in my lessons because, we're leading up to a concert or whatever, or they just need repetition. Even if it's not a concert song, kids need repetition. So I like try and take the process that works best. Ooh, these kids really excelled with piano. And then I try that with the other class. So I kind of love that about teaching music is you can sort of treat a class like a lab and explore and try and figure out what works and then try it a different way the next time you teach the song. So for me, this ended up with me at the piano a lot of times. And it was, I would do it in F major. So, so, la, do, 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 la, so, mi, so, do, right? I don't know. But it would be up to F, 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 F. Now, sometimes I would transpose, but it gets a little high a little later on. So I played with that too, of like trying different keys and things. Anyway, so first 2 verses, she'll be coming around the mountain, then she'll be driving 6 white horses. And then the kid asks, sorry, Instagram, I think balloons just went across the street, across the screen because I did a peace sign. Oops, I forgot it could do that. Anyway, sorry Instagram for that momentary craziness. Okay, so then the next verse is, when the carriage gets here, we'll all go out and greet her, because when she gets here, we'll want to go out and say hi. And the kid's like, yeah, but Mom, what if I'm playing a game? Well, you'll have to stop your game because we're all going to go out and greet her. Yeah, but Mom, what if I'm having a snack? You'll have to stop your snack because we'll all go out and greet her when she comes. But Mom, what if I'm in the middle of like reading a book? Well, you have to pause because we'll all go out to greet her. And then this becomes part of that lesson of like every time I get a repeat and the kids realize like this is a new verse because it's the thing that he keeps repeating over and over. So that must be the next part of the song, which is really fun to see them sort of explore that. But also having this back and forth between like kid who's being obnoxious and a mom, it gives so much context to the song because you can explain things like driving the horses or whoa back or like going out to greet somebody when they arrive at your house. Like those are all things that you can explore and play with if you make it more of like a story like this. So we all go out to greet and we say, hi there. There are some versions that go, hi, babe. But I'm just like, no, hi there. So that's what my kids do for that verse. And then, of course, it accumulates. Hi there, whoa back. Doot, doot, only for that last iteration in reverse. The next one is, oh, we'll all have chicken and dumplings when she comes. Before we even sing that, I go, okay, if you had a friend coming over, a friend who you really loved, and your parents are like, we're going to make a special food. What's like one thing you think would be like a delicious thing to make for like when friends come over? And it's hilarious to hear what kids say. Someone will be like, we're going to have pizza, or like maybe we'll make hamburgers, or some kids will like talk about like, oh, the things they like. And it always makes me laugh because it always makes me think of like the things kids will say. Like no kid's going to be like, well, I don't know. My kids aren't going to be like, we're going to have curry or whatever. Like most of my kids are going to be like, we're going to have chicken strips. Like they're going to say like the kid foods. Like they wouldn't even probably be like lasagna, because they'd probably be like, we're going to have chicken strips. How many kids? We're going to have mac and cheese. Anyway, so it's fun to like have kids say, like, what would you eat? Well, then we talk about chicken and dumplings. Usually I have to pull up a picture of that because not all of my students know what chicken and dumplings is. And so we like talk about that and explore that. And then we talk about when she always wears, oh, you guys, this is so sad, but she always wears red pajamas. And you know, like the blue pajamas, fine. Green pajamas, good. The footy pajamas, we like those. The red pajamas, those are the itchy ones. And so you know, she's wearing her red pajamas. She's going to be scratching all day, all night, you know. So anyway, for this one, I say we could go, oh, she'll wear her red pajamas when she comes. And you could just scratch, and that'd be fine. But it's not very loud. Like if you scratch, it's not that loud. So we're going to use our voice to try and make it louder. So, or like, or something. You got to come and decide. And you know, these are long pajamas. So maybe you'll scratch your shoulder, maybe your body, maybe you scratch your arm, maybe you scratch your torso, maybe, I don't know. You get a scratch. And so then we add that in. And then the last part is, we don't have an extra room in the house. Every room, every bedroom is filled with people. And so when she comes, she's not going to go to a hotel in town. No, she's going to stay with us. And then the kid is like, but mom, where is she going to sleep? Oh, well, we have a place for her to sleep. But mom, where is she going to sleep? On the floor? No, she's not going to sleep on the floor. Is she going to sleep on the couch? Because I don't think so. No, she's not going to sleep on the couch. Is she going to sleep? And then it becomes out, well, there is a bed that's big enough and she can sleep with grandma. She can sleep in grandma's room, which is really unfortunate because you know how grandma sleeps. You walk by grandma's room at night and you hear, and so grandma snores. So we add that in. Oh, she'll have to sleep with grandma when she comes. And this is my favorite because after doing that, I go, oh my gosh, I thought we had a bunch of piglets in the room because we have to sleep with grandma when she comes. And I heard, and the kids are like, Mr. Round, that's not what we sound like. I'm like, oh, yeah, kind of. So it's like fun to play around and do that. So we end up with 6 verses. She'll be coming around the mountain, toot, toot. She'll be driving 6 white horses, whoa back. We'll all go out to greet her, hi there. We'll all have chicken and dumplings when she comes, yum, yum. She'll wear her red pajamas when she comes, and she'll have to sleep with grandma when she comes. Okay, so when Cheryl Ann comes, or Gwendolyn, or Betsy Sue, or whatever we call her that week, she has to, we go through all those things. That's how I tell the story the first time. And the second time when I bring this back, we sing through the song as we remember it from like a previous class. And then I say, you guys, I found a book that goes with this song, except it's not exactly the same. There are some things that are different about it. But let me show you the book. And so it's this book called She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain. Surprise. This is by Jonathan Emmett and Deborah Allwright. Now, when I was looking initially for a book for She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain, I could not find one I liked. Like I was like thinking like, you know, there are like books for all sorts of songs. You'd think there's one for this one. I couldn't find any that I really liked all that much. And then I found this one, but then it was like hard to find a copy of it. I couldn't find a copy of it. Well, it turns out it's not in print anymore. And so those of you who are like, David, why are you showing us this if it's not in print? Well, we'll talk about that. But it's originally printed in the UK, and it's like hard to find because it's not really in print. So on the links page, I did put a link to the listing on Amazon. And if you're like, but it's not in print, can I even get it? Well, let me tell you. First, when you're looking for resources, looking for things, especially if you're looking for instruments or musical books or musical resources, I would say please do not buy from Amazon. Amazon's quick, Amazon's easy sometimes, but if Every single person who is a music educator in the country deleted Amazon, like deleted their account, never bought from them again. Amazon would not notice. They do not need our money, right? So that's why I would say if you're going to buy something, especially an instrument, especially a musical book, especially a puppet, go find a music vendor like West Music or Sweet Pipes or MIE or who, there are so many great music vendors out there who help. Like this is the time of year I feel like we notice, like when we go to conferences and they're there as they've sponsored things, they've sponsored presenters, they've sponsored booths, they've paid for rooms, they've brought in instruments. These companies really do invest back in us because they care about us. Amazon doesn't care about us. So at least not in the way that they care about us for our money. They don't care about us as individuals or as teachers. Whereas like, companies like West Music or MIE or Sweet Pipes, they do. So I'm encouraging you now, if you're like, oh, I could go get this on Amazon, see if you could maybe get it from a music vendor because they do so much more for us. And I know that there are like local music stores that I'm not mentioning because I don't know all the local music stores, but that's just me saying like, don't need to buy it from Amazon. Okay, and then this is where you should be saying, but David, you said on the links page there's a link to Amazon. Now, I do use Amazon, but I like to use it like Pinterest, meaning like I like to create lists and find things there. The thing I love about Amazon is, like, especially for books, if you want to buy a book, it has the name of the book, it has the authors, it has the ISBN, it has all the identifying information, it has the publisher, it has how many pages are in the book, it has everything, even if it doesn't sell it. Right now, Amazon does not have this book. They have used copies that I think that they're getting like through a third-party vendor from like Half Price Books or something that sells on Amazon. But Amazon does not have this book. So what you can do is you can go to Amazon, you can pull out the ISBN, you can pull out all that identifying information, and then you can find it elsewhere. You can either find it like for your local library, maybe you go to a used book website like Better World Books, Thrift Books, ABE Books, Half Price Books, Goodwill Books. There are all these used book vendors that you can find older copies of things. So take that information from Amazon and then go look for the book. Okay, enough talking about this book. Let's look at this book. So it's actually kind of a fun book. The things I really like about it is the illustrations are kind of fun and kooky. And so it starts like, gather around, now I'm going to tell you a special story about a special visitor, which they call Bonnie Bandit. Okay, they're really leaning into the like Wild West here. So like the illustrations are just kind of fun. The original verse, the first verse, the other thing I like about it is it has weird verses. Okay, so the first verse, she'll be coming around the mountain toot toot. She'll be driving 6 white horses, whoa back. Okay, great, we're doing great. The little like, I don't know what these are, little groundhog things are like playing the trumpet and playing the banjo, hilarious. Okay, then she'll be wearing pink pajamas. Okay, and don't look too closely because pajamas is spelled Pyjamas, which is because it's British spelling. Okay, so she wears her pink pajamas, right? And then she says, tee-hee. She doesn't do scratch, scratch, but okay, fine. And then it goes, she'll be juggling with jelly when she comes. Splish, splat. Okay, that one, my kids are like, what? So we've already learned the song, we've already done the song, and then we get to that verse and they're like, she's doing what now? And so they think that's hilarious. And then it goes, she'll dance across the rooftops when she comes. Yeehaw. Okay, so she does that. That's a fun verse. And then she will paint the whole town purple when she comes. Bish bosh. Bish bosh being, I think, the sound of the paintbrush. Okay, and so she paints the whole town purple. And then this is one I have to explain to them. She'll drink out of a dustbin when she comes. Dustbin being like a trash can. Slurp, slurp. Okay, gross. Why would you do that? That'd be disgusting. And then we'll all go out to greet her and we say, hi, babe. That's the version they use. I'd say hi there. Okay, and then when she comes, and then has this sort of fun fold out for the end of the book. Super cute book. And if you're like, but David, it's out of print. I can't find it. What if I want to use it? And it even has like dance, like motions, things you can do. David, what if I want to use this? Guess what? The author, Jonathan Emmett, I think honestly, after the publisher like stopped printing it, they did a read-along, sing-along version of this book. It's free. It's on YouTube. I linked it. So if you like this idea of this book, you can go watch the author actually like explain how the actions and things you can do, and explain like the bish bosh and the dustbin, all that. Like he explains that, and then they sing through the book. So if you're like, well, I don't have access to this book, yes, you do, because it's on YouTube, and not just like someone illegally reading the book on YouTube, but like the author is there reading the book. So if you are interested in the book, go check it out. You can see that book. And then if you're like, I'm going to track down a copy, like I found this used copy. I did not buy this. This is a used copy, and it says discard from the Islington Library in London. So like, oh, okay. So like this was a discard book, but you can track down copies. They are around. But if you want to use the book, you can just use the YouTube video because the author put it there for us to use. So anyway, all that to say, it's a very fun song. It's not too tricky. The range is bigger. Bum 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 ba-dum ba-dum bum ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum ba-dum bum ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum. So it's an octave plus what, like a third? Because it goes all the way up to high so, down to low mi. So it's a pretty expansive range, but because it's so repetitive and because like it's such like a familiar song, I think that it is within the abilities of our students. And my first graders have been doing okay, and it's just a fun song that's like fun because like their parents are going to know it. So when you do it in the concert, they'll be like, oh my gosh, we know that song. And it's one that probably they've heard before. But I'm realizing like one that they might have heard before, but not a ton. So it's a super fun song to add. I hope that these little books and extras are things that you're like, oh yeah, I could add that in. Or another time is like if you've taught the song, maybe you leave that book version, that YouTube version, for a substitute teacher. Like you're going to be gone, then they can be like, oh yeah, you read through, and then the sub can let them sing through with the song. So it's a super great, easy resource if you want it to go along with the song. Do you teach it differently? Do you do different things? Leave comments in the comments, or send me a direct message and let me know like, hey, there's this other thing I do, or I do these weird verses, or you didn't say my favorite verse, which is about like dance a polka when she comes. I don't know, like maybe you have some other verse that you like have fell in love with. But anyway, leave a comment and let me know how you do it differently. And I'll be back next week for another Musical Mondays video, hopefully with your great comments about, oh, David, you left out the most important verse. She'll be coming around the mountain, the one that references the pogo stick. I don't know, something. So anyway, thanks for coming along with me tonight. I hope I'll see you next week for another Musical Mondays video. Until then, have a great time and exploring with your kids. Bye, everyone.